Ladies and gentlemen, I'm doing this for humanity. And let me go in history. Nigeria is not my country. But Nigeria is an African country that would have made us proud if we put it back in order. The weakening of constitutional continental justice system has begun with Nigeria. Nigeria continued to fail as a state, a superpower with 250 million people, has failed to place these documents before the court. Remember, we have 11 judges. And I want to take this opportunity to congratulate my comrade, my dear friend, brother from Mali, Sako, for having taken over as the presiding president. And hopefully, with you at the helm, we are going to change Africa through this court, that no African should be shipped to International Criminal Court, of which America does not subscribe to, but America harasses, arrests, abates to arrest the people and take them there. C. Violation of AU normative commitments. Nigeria's refusal contradicts the African Union commitment to the Charter of Democracy, Dignity, Election Governance, the Constitutive Act of AU, and Agenda 2063, aspiration for a just rights respecting Africa. Therefore, it has violated. 4. Political and moral responsibility. As Africa's most populous country and a key contributor to continental peace and governance frameworks, Nigeria bears a unique responsibility. It cannot advocate for African solutions for African problems, yet while rejecting African legal accountability for African mechanisms. Mark that point. 5. Our recommendations are the following. That the Pan-African Forum respectively urges the African Union Commission President, the chairperson, Ambassador, His Honorable Mahmoud Yusuf Ali, to immediately, and I repeat, immediately, because now we are going to ask the legal department to interpret, to tell me why 11 judges are seated in Arusha doing nothing. If you don't tell me that, I'm going to go further. I have now the way. Why should we be paying for 11 judges when Nigeria cannot come to court? Why? Why are we paying taxes? Why are we giving donation to African Union when Tinubu cannot come to court? When Tinubu cannot be answered to this court? Why? When Buhari goes around to kidnap, when the European Union that is funding the Nigerian rogue system is abducting people, detaining people in Finland, in Norway, in other places, why should we keep quiet? I have not kept quiet. Recommendations. I will formally want to notify and engage Nigeria, the AU, and I request the AU through its legal system to request the government of Nigeria to immediately surrender the declaration and Article 34(6) declaration enabling the access to the court for its citizens and the civil society and individuals who have been traumatized, slaughtered, killed, herdsmen, Fulani herdsmen coming to take over their farms. We need help here. And that help must come now, not tomorrow, now, today. 2,
please share the life.
Include AU legal and
share the life, please.
Ministerial reporting to go to Nigeria to find out, ensure Nigeria's 9 deposit is flagged in upcoming AU legal compliance reports, where I have not seen any report. Mr. Bankole has been hiding these reports. Time has come, Mr. Bankole have been working. I've got everything from your own people in AU. They have given me every information. And I want to thank my researchers, my friends, my comrades. Thank you very much. Continue doing the good job. Feed me with this information. I want to forward the clean African Union. I want to clean this. I want to bring a better African Union that can speak for the people of Africa, not speak for the interests of the French.
Yes.
Fellow countrymen, fellow continent citizens, global citizens, those in the diaspora, it is very disheartening. The strength of enforcement of mechanisms. I want to recommend to the AU Assembly and the relevant police organs to consider compliance mechanisms or soft sanctions for state parties like in Nigeria that fail to implement judicial and treaty commitments. It's sad. When we want to go and accuse people in the ICC, I'm doing this to help some people on the continent who run around, who don't know. They run everything that happens. They want to run to ICC. No. We got our independence. We don't need to run to ICC. We need to run to Arusha. We need to run to Addis Ababa. We need to run to ECOWAS. We need to run to SADC, South Africa. We can't create a parliament, and the parliament is useless. Why do we send our MPs to South Africa? I'm doing this radically to change the situation. Africa must stand. I am not bad. Call me anything, but I'm not going to give up. I'm not fighting anybody by gun. The last I handled a gun was a long time ago, when I was fighting Idi Amin and other people. I am using the brains to educate Africa that this is the route to go. The issue of public communique. The AUC, African Commission, AUC, should issue a clear communique. And I want to see it in black and white. Because if you don't do this, the next action I'm coming, we shall hear your cases without you.
Did you get that?
And that is Nigeria, be careful.
Yeah.
I'm on you. Because you are the biggest country in Africa. We don't need you in Africa to create any problem for us. We need you to help us so that other people can see you are doing something very important. It is sad, therefore, to have very serious interactions. It is sad, therefore, to have very, very serious countries like Nigeria to fail us. Nigeria is a shame to Africa.
Nigeria is a shame. 600
people die in a flood. This place. A country with resources consumed by corruption, by luxury, no medicine. The head of state flies to France because in Britain we are blocked. Flies to France to get medical treatment. Yet Panadols are missing in hospitals in Nigeria. The African court, therefore, in the conclusion of Schuman and the people's rights, I want to say and I state here categorically that the African Court on Human and the People's Right was not created as a symbolic institution, but a living judicial mechanism with 11 judges to serve Africans. Therefore, I conclude by saying, if citizens of Nigeria, the largest democracy on the continent, cannot access this court, cannot access justice, then the integrity of African Union human rights systems is at risk. We can't say we created the African Union for this type of mess. This is a critical moment for the African Union Commission to act with clarity, courage, and consistency. I remain available for further dialogue and legal engagement on this matter. I give only 4 days for reply.
4 days.
Failure, I will move because I've already got what to do, where to do it, how to do it. I'll move across to stage the last staging point. I remain the chairman, founder of Pan-African Forum Limited and Associates. You can reach me on africastrategy@hotmail.com if you have anything to write. This statement issued in Arusha, Tanzania on the 1st of July 2025. The year of our Lord. Thank you. God bless you. And I want to be very candid that these countries have got a habit of conniving with states like Finland, Norway, in Africa, who come and preach human rights in their countries. But they come to Africa, ignore the human rights that are being abused in the African continent. Finland is dealing with Nigeria to obtain gas, to obtain oil contracts, construction of roads, infrastructure, but it is not bothering to tell the world under the European law, which again, Article 41 of the European Convention and the Universal Suffrage law that touches human rights, the right of explaining to a court that there is a conflict that is killing people. They have not done it. I want to thank you and thank all of you who have stood by me. I will pro bono on a voluntary basis struggle on. Those who want to help me, My contributions are very clear. Every contribution of yours will be accounted for. My PayPal is very available. My journey I am on, I will put it here so that you can help if possible. If you can't help, still I'll go on until I come to a conclusion to make sure that there is accountability and restore accountability, safeguard the interest of the people. If the people want a referendum, therefore, give them the referendum, the right to exist or coexist while you block them. That's what I've done, and I will continue to fight for those rights.
When I tell you that not every Igbo person is interested in the Biafran movement or expansionist theories, take it from me because I'm speaking as an insider and not just an outsider. I was invited to this event by my Igbo sister. Yes, very important for me to mention that. By my Igbo sister, an amazing sister, that the event, as you can see, Road to South, is happening right now as we're speaking in Abuja. President Tinubu, Godswill Akpabio, Senate President, the Nyesom Wike, they are all in attendance. And this is just to show you that the South is really not sleeping over the entire expansionist theories, and it's working to take action towards, you know, the promotion of the South. This is a dialogue. I was not just invited to attend this event as a member, but I was actually invited to perform, because beyond writing and speaking and all the other things that I do, one of the things I also do is leverage art, sustainable art, to promote, you know, harmony and development. I do this via music, I do this via art and craft, I do this via writing, I do this via NGOs, program management, volunteering, you name it. As large as the word humanitarian services go, grassroots development go, I do all of that. And so the truth is that a civil war does not profit anybody right now. What we should be talking about is regional development. What we should be talking about is national growth. What we should be talking about is every state coming together and ensuring that, you know, they develop their states, develop their place with the you know, the budget that is allocated to them. That's what we should be talking about, right? And also creating room for dialogue, right? XYZ. So if you are wondering what the federal government is doing about what's happening currently, I want you to know that they are actually on their toes. They're actually doing something about it. And of course, dialogue is always a great way out. So I just thought to give you this heads up, my dear Igbo brothers, my dear Deltans. For reasons best known to me, I could not attend this amazing event that is ongoing. But yeah, hopefully the next one I'd be present to attend. But yeah, this is what's happening, and I think youth development, especially youth development in Akwa Ibom should, you know, start learning from the federal angle and start coordinating dialogues like this as well, right? So that we can promote unity and peace. That's what will profit everybody right now. So let's pray for Nigeria, guys. We cannot afford a war, cannot afford a civil war right now, okay?
On behalf of Pan-African Forum Limited and Associates, to place before the African Union Commission a formal submission on the failure of the Federal Republic of Nigeria to deposit the Article 34, subsection 6 declaration, having signed and ratified to the protocols and the treaty of the setting up of the African Court on Human and People's Rights in Arusha. It is a moment for me, as a person who has struggled all along,
please share the life for
that as we see Nigeria abduct people,
you're welcome,
and as we see the country of Nigeria fall to pieces, we watch abduction, terrorists picking up girls, banditry, hostage, kidnap. We have kept quiet. We have listened, we have watched. With a population of 250 million people, Africa has watched. Africa has neglected to take this step. Yet this was a protocol that was endorsed by the African Union itself, by Organization of African Unity itself, and other member states. It is sad, therefore, that today, as we see people who have been killed, maimed, kidnapped, civil strife inside Nigeria, a state falling to pieces, the center cannot hold. The leadership of Buhari did its part to fracture the center of this nation, a great nation in Africa, with the potential to help the three African people, has failed to give an example as a big power, a superpower on the continent of Africa. I have submitted this application before the chairperson of and the AU Chair Commission for them to invoke the articles and take action to the same in order to realize the formation of the African Court on Human and People's Rights, to avoid our people being shipped, to avoid our continent looking at the International Criminal Court as the only alternative. Yet we have mechanisms to stop Africans being exported across to the Netherlands, to give Netherlands more money, to give them more employment, because there are people working in those courts. And yet we want more and more youth on this continent to work on the continent, more lawyers, more professionals, experts, to have our own court that can sentence people, that can look at our bit differences. We have neglected Article 34C, Section 6. Therefore, I've taken the first step to take Nigeria to court. I want to invoke procedurally this journey. This mission, therefore, is made in the interest of advancing foundational principles of the African Union, namely the promotion of human rights across irrespective and the respect of rule of law, access to justice to all African people on their own continent. My Pan-Africanism is different from those who talk, shout, academics who make noise, make statements. That I'm not in that theater. I am in a practical theater to use the tools of engagement, the tools of strategic management of this continent. It concerns the continued failure of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, a huge state with 250 million people. Every day you open up your TV, you see the people's cry. Abduction, killings, shootings, slaughter, defilement, terrorists. Therefore, Article 34, subsection 6 of the Protocol of the African Charter of the Establishment of the African Court on Human and People's Rights, called AFCHPR, this has been defied, despite the fact that Nigeria ratified the treaty. Ladies and gentlemen, the Pan-African Forum and Associates are limited and associated in line with this mission to uphold justice, democracy, dignity for the African peoples, both in Nigeria from north to east, west to south. The suffering masses of this great nation have taken this respectively, called on the African Union Commission to treat this matter as urgent and to take appropriate institutional action in line with AU legal norms and values, to ask Nigeria as to why people are being killed.
Yes.
People are being killed in Nigeria, slaughtered, abducted, while we are watching. People are disappearing. Terrorists are forming up groups. Terror cells have sprung up. Flying herders are taking over this country with 20 million cows, cattle, roaming the whole country. From North Sahara Desert to South Atlantic Ocean. They want to take over this country. One dominant feature among us, this, the killings, the slaughter, the defilement, the rape, the scorched policy that Nigeria is facing. That Nigeria and the Nigerian citizens are undergoing in Benue State, 200 people slaughtered, maimed in cold blood. We are keeping quiet, not me. Therefore, the legal framework and obligation of the African Court Protocol 1998 was adopted by the OAU and continued under AU, established it, and it established a judicial organ that will try crimes of this nature. And the Human Charter on Human and People's Rights, Article 5, subsection 3, is very clear. The protocol enables individuals like me, and NGOs and other agencies to directly approach the court.
Okay.
If that country has submitted the instruments under Article 34(6). Why, therefore, I'm asking the Federal Republic of Nigeria that ratified the protocol has refused for 20 years, over 20 years, not to deposit this crucial declaration. I want to enable anyone who has got the knowledge to answer me.
Nigeria is not the safest country in the world. People who go against the politicians disappear left and right all the time. And the government at the time was very against the Igbo population. They had massacred them in 1967 in the Biafra War, and still there's persecution till this day. So we knew coming into Nigeria, we're not here to get involved with the politics, but we're here to tell the story of a population that many in the government experience or think of them as their enemies. So we land in
Which is
Ogidi.
getting involved in the politics.
Well, we're not here to play politics in Nigeria. We're just here to say they have
no
Jewish
agenda.
connection. Yes.
Yeah.
Well, there are movements trying to separate the southern part of Nigeria, which is Biafra, Igbo land, and to create independence from Nigeria. So that's the politics that they fear. That's not what I'm involved with. I'm just talking about their Jewish heritage and trying to reconnect our greater family. And I'm doing this all around the world right now, starting in Africa, and all across Africa we've been. So we get to Ogidi, and we're with this Jewish community. We brought them a Sefer Torah that was given to us as a gift, and we spent a day and a half with them, and it was one of the most beautiful experiences I've ever had in my life. Just the amount of Torah and Jewish learning and connection that they have, and how they want to move to Israel and study in yeshiva and serve in the army and do all sorts of things to be connected to the Jewish people was really beautiful to see. After a day and a half there, we wake up Friday morning, getting ready to film their preparations for Shabbat, filming them making challah, filming them have a Jewish life to show the rest of the world what is actually going here. We get a call from the lobby that says, come downstairs, the police are here, bring your passports and phones. We haven't done anything illegal, so there's no reason for us to doubt that. We come downstairs, and it's not the police, it's 15 armed gun militants with black ski masks pointing guns at us. Immediately, they take our phones and passports. We tried to negotiate, telling them, listen, we have things to film. We haven't been accused of anything. What do you want from us?
Speaking French there? What
No, English. It's a former British colony, so most people speak English. Yeah. And so we're telling them, listen, let us film. We'll come later if you have questions. Like, you're not even telling us what we're doing wrong. No negotiation. They grab us. They bring us outside. There are 3 vans waiting for us. We were a team of 3, me, Noam, and David. And they put each of us in a separate car, drive us to a government location. We basically spend the entire day there, the entire night. Wake up the next morning. They bring us back into 3 other cars. And then they drive us 15 hours away to a Nigerian prison in Abuja, which is the capital city in Nigeria. And there we spent 3 weeks in Nigerian prison. The first week we were in a small cage, maybe 6 meters by 6 meters.
Hold on, I'm going to show you a picture. Will you put up the picture of Dan's motel room again?
Was it worse than this?
What was it like in a Nigerian
It's
prison?
okay. 3 years has passed, so we can take humor from it.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
No, it's okay. It's okay. But
what was it?
It was very. There were very.
I
harsh
didn't mean to
conditions.
be.
It's all good. I get it.
What was it like in a Nigerian prison?
Right. So we get put into this cage that's about 6 meters by 6 meters. Or 3 of us, full of rat feces, human urine, mold. And the most dangerous situation that we're in is one of our friends, David, who's 20 years older than me. This was 3 years ago. I was 27. Now I'm 30. So he's 47. He has an immune system disorder that if he doesn't have his medication, he dies. In fact, he's survived 2 cancers from his condition. And we find ourselves in the place that's the worst if his immune system were to crash. And his medication is 15 hours away in the hotel. And it's already been 2 days that he hasn't taken his medication. So I basically now have 5 days to get help and to get my friend out, or else he dies. And it wasn't easy. They were starving us. They didn't give us food for 5 days, only water, and they were taking us for interrogation. Never charged us with anything. Never
Physical interrogation.
I mean, I would say that starving someone and keeping them in those conditions is a form of torture, but they
important debate on the floor of the National Assembly. But I take a different perspective to what has happened here. You have to go back in history to understand why there was a civil war in the first place, and 50 years later, why the same people are agitating for independence. In '66, we had the first coup, where it was alleged that the Igbos wiped out northern leaders in the military. Second coup, Gawan took over, and there was a lot of bloodshed, killing the Igbos. Igbos were killed in the north. They moved back to eastern Nigeria. Ojukwu became head of state, declared a nation called Biafra. The war started. We fought for 3 years. The war was over. And southeastern Nigeria and eastern Nigeria, as it was called, was integrated into Nigeria. That is the background. Now, when the war was over, I asked the vice president of Nigeria a fundamental question. There are 2 questions asked. 1, why did you erase the bite of Biafra from the map of Nigeria. And he said that at the Supreme Military Council meeting, they felt Biafra would rise again. And so the federal government at the time did everything possible not to talk about the war in Nigeria. So from 1970 to the present, a generation of Nigerians who were born did not know we had a civil war. And I know a lot of young people who do not know Nigeria fought the war. This policy of being an ostrich and not addressing issues is counterproductive. If you lived in America, you know you had the Vietnam War, which happened at the same time as the Nigerian Civil War. You had the Korean War, you had the First World War, you had the Second World War. You have all kinds of wars. And they talk about it all the time. If you watch the Discovery Channel, you can see all the wars in the world. And the reason they televise these wars is so that you can learn from the mistakes of others, so that you do not become a fool and make the same mistakes and fight again. And so here we are 50 years later, talking about something that could have been avoided if the federal government at the time understood the value of history. So one, we erased the Civil War from our consciousness. So a generation of people do not know we fought the war or why we fought the war. They say the Igbos were marginalized, right? They fought the war, they lost. Today, they are the most industrious people in the country today. They are the richest Nigerians in the country today. One of the most educated people in Nigeria today. Yet, they feel marginalized. If you compare the Igbo man to the other sectors of the society, you would say the Igbos are very privileged because of what they have. Yet, a generation of Igbos say they are marginalized and they want to secede and they want a nation. Well, yes, a young generation of people who have never seen bloodshed, war, destruction, people being killed, amputated, families being divided, sure they can think like that. But what have we done as a nation to educate them about the destruction of war? Absolutely nothing. We do not teach this in our history books. We do not tell our children what war is all about. It's easy to talk about war. How many people have carried a gun, an AK-47, a machine gun, a machete? How many people have carried a gun? How many people have used a gun? How many people have fired a shot? How many people? Those who talk about war, those who talk about bloodshed, those who talk about confusion have never carried a gun. So how do they know how people die? Have they seen blood? And yet here we are debating a subject that we as a nation should understand. The educational system does not teach it, and our people do not understand it, and the federal government of Nigeria do not recognize it. And so my position is different. If the federal government do not recognize a fundamental problem in our educational system, a fundamental problem on how television is viewed across the country, then we have a fundamental problem, and we must address the problem at the source. What is the problem? We are the problem. It could be Biafra today, it could be South tomorrow, it could be Northeast the other day. It doesn't matter. The problem is we are not addressing the problem that unites or divides us, and this must be addressed. Our educational system is one of the worst I've ever seen in anywhere in the world. It is terrible. Our policy on information makes no sense whatsoever, and here we are talking about an impending crisis. A lot of people forget. I'll be quick. How many people remember December 31st, 1983, when there was a military coup? A lot of people forget. I was in the office of Punch newspaper, Oluwabodere. I did not know he was dying of cancer. But there he said to me, Nigeria must change, and he will do whatever he took to bring down the Shagari administration. He did an editorial 3-4 days before the military coup. Front page, back page, inside front page. Within 3 days, the military struck and democracy ended. But the people of this country who do not pay attention to history, who do not read, who do not watch television, and to the government who pretend to be deaf and dumb.
Yeah, Mike.
Pay attention.
People, when somebody get 3,000, he carry a title of heaven that is bigger than the earth. Igwe Kana, you're fucking uniting yourself with these house niggas. Think for the sake of our children. You're going to unite with people who will tell you your father is an idiot and mobilize you to beat your father. Have you not seen Nnamdi Kanu and his stout beating the supposed Igbo of Igbo? Sometimes castrate most of them. Have you heard any Igbo man speak against the atrocity going on in the southeast? Have you heard Peter Obi condemn sit at home? Then one criminal, one tout who could not finish secondary school, Nnamdi Kanu, is their Hamadike. You're uniting with those people. My brother, use your brain. Use your brain. Let's know why they don't have pillars. After they say, Igbo, that is true. So somebody who don't have a king, where is the scepter of authority? Without rules and regulation, we are all savages. That is why you see those Igbo Biafra, they behave like animals. That is why everywhere they go around the world, they always have problems. If you are in Nigeria, you are in any country in Nigeria, watch that country. If Nigerians are having problem of being demarketed, look at them very well. It is Igbo Biafra people. And now they are uniting with us. They don't have king. They don't respect leadership. And we have king. We respect leadership. And they want to unite. What will that amount to? Destroy my own value system. Because they don't have. Many people, you have a role to play. Don't let them divide you. Your ancestors used to believe that it is the blood of the gods that flows in their vein. Benin has been fought from time to time, but yet they stand. Many have been on our knee for a very long time. And now they are trying to divide you. They are using Asia, telling us about Ogiso and Igodomigodo and Akatamikata. They are not telling you about the raping of Igbo Biafra defense criminals in the southeast. They are telling you, oh, Asian people, Benin people hate you. Oh, election is around the corner. But Simon Ekpa has directed, the Igbo people are everywhere. Igbo Biafra like Frank. They are everywhere claiming that they develop Lagos. They develop everywhere. They develop. Hausa people will come to Port Harcourt and sleep under the bridge. They live in unity, they live in harmony. They never know themselves, but they can eat together in the same place, do everything together, and everybody goes back to where they. We can't even leave our drink and go and urinate. Is it not better to live in an uncompleted building, poor and hungry as I am, than to kill my own brother? Nnamdi Kanu told you that anything you see in the bush is a bush meat. You people have been eating fellow Igbo man. And that is why I told you before that as a child, there is a song we used to sing. I thought it was mere a ridiculous song. But then Nnamdi Kanu made me to understand that it's not a ridiculous song. Instead of me to eat my brother's flesh, let me be hungry.
The agitation for Biafra by the Igbo people continues to wax stronger as it gains global support. For decades, the Igbo have remained on the margins of Nigeria's political and economic structure. Since the end of the Nigerian Civil War and the fall of the Second Republic, no Igbo has been allowed to ascend to the presidency. This is not a coincidence, but the result of deliberate political exclusion and marginalization. The Igbo, despite being one of the three major ethnic groups in Nigeria, have consistently been denied key positions of influence in national leadership. They are often told to believe in one Nigeria, yet every action from the federal government suggests that they are treated as second-class citizens in their own country. This systematic injustice has fueled the rising call for Biafra. The Nigerian government has failed to genuinely address the root cause of Igbo dissatisfaction. Rather than engage in dialogue or implement inclusive reforms, the government has responded with military crackdowns, arrests, and repression of peaceful protesters. How can there be unity in a country where a major ethnic group is denied fairness, development, and political representation? Infrastructure in the southwest is neglected. Federal projects are unequally distributed, and appointments to sensitive positions hardly reflect the nation's diversity. These are not just coincidences. They are symptoms of a system that appears determined to silence and sideline the Igbo. Their demand for Biafra is not driven by hatred or disloyalty to Nigeria, but by a desire for dignity, justice, and self-determination. Yet, while the Igbo agitation for Biafra is understandable and rooted in years of neglect, the better path still lies in building a fair and truly united Nigeria. Division may seem like an escape, but it is not a guarantee of peace or prosperity. A united Nigeria, where justice prevails and every ethnic group has equal opportunities, will be stronger than a divided one. Our number is our strength. Nigerians' diversity should be its greatest weapon, not its weakness. The solution is not in breaking up, but in restructuring the country to guarantee fairness, inclusivity, and respect for all citizens. The Nigerian government must wake up and correct the systemic injustice that continue to push the Igbo toward the exit door. Only then can the dream of a truly united Nigeria become a reality. Well, if today is the first time joining my channel, please kindly like, share, and subscribe.